Today I am going to be changing out some brakes on one of my trailers, and we'll walk you through that process. So bear with me. I'm going to try to do this reasonably well while I move the wheelbarrow. As a tool cart, because where I live we get snow. In the wintertime, the wheelbarrow does a great job as a tool cart. So I've done a few little things already here, as you can see. This one I've already changed the backing plate on, and it did give me some grief. So I thought I would video the process for this one. And just let's adjust this camera a little bit. I've already taken the screw off and the outer bearing, and you can see there's 5 different, they're 9/16 is the socket size for this trailer, and these are two 7,000 pound axles. And I'll just go ahead and I'll show you what I've done on the other side. I've already done the backing plate, but it was a bit of a pain in the neck because these screws had rust seized in, and they were like they were a stud style that had like just a round end on the back, and they did not work very well. I tried vice grips, I tried all kinds of things, and what I discovered was an angle grinder right down the middle, once they were loose, worked beautifully to separate the nut, and it just fell clean off. So hopefully we don't have to do that on the other side, but I'm prepared for it in case we do. Yesterday I went and I put degreasing oil on all of these studs. Yeah, we're gonna have a repeat of yesterday, so that's okay. That one isn't even gonna turn. Am I gonna get any of them? Wow. Well, that was extraordinarily painful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get a couple of pliers, or one pair of pliers. Let's pull that screw off, or to pull those 2 springs off, separate it, pull this off, grind that off so I've got better access, cut this. I don't need that there like that. Let's go for a walk. Let's get a few more tools. So these are some of the problems that you can encounter if you are dealing with an older trailer. This is a 2011 trailer, so it's not that old of a trailer, but we get a lot of salt on our roads by our municipalities. We get a lot of adverse weather conditions. So go into my handy dandy toolbox here. These 2 guys. Well, side cutters too, why not? And my C-can is a hot mess. Please don't pay too close of attention or judge me too hard for that. So let's get at her. I wasn't sure if it was just going to work easily to remove those nuts, but I know there's a lot of people that live places that aren't in fantastic summer hot conditions year round. So hopefully this is a helpful video for you, for helping you to feel a little less discouraged maybe about the potential of the work that could be required to change these. There's a lot of guys are like, oh yeah, change it in 2 minutes, blah blah blah. Well, if you live somewhere like Texas or Arizona, where the weather is always really nice, I would have to agree with you. Yeah, super easy. But if you live somewhere that gets snow and ice, like Michigan, we're in Canada. I'm not trying to save these at all, but it still is a bit of a fight, as you can see. There we go, there's one. There's two. I think yesterday I think I just took my grinder. I got frustrated, just ground it off, but for the purposes of this video, I think I'm going to try a little bit harder not to do that. So then these little screws, they just sit. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, that's really, really annoying. And I'm not worried about any of this because afterwards I'm going to clean this down really good. So I'm not at all concerned about it in the slightest. But the way this is designed is you're supposed to be able to turn this and twist this, and this should come off of that. I had better luck with this yesterday, with this part. Yeah, like so. And then let's see if I can get this side. Not so lucky. For whatever reason, the whole thing wants to turn. There we go. Okay, so then those come off. Again, I'm not trying to save that. And then yesterday, to get better access to these, which I'm going to need it again today, I just cut this. Then again, could, I guess, just mount that up, but you know what? Got my handy dandy grinding wheel. I'm just going to grind that out of my way. And I have a face shield somewhere. These are safety glasses. If you have a face shield, better. In my case, I can't find mine, so. So unfortunately, we're still a long ways away from the finish line, and I'm going to show you what I did yesterday to deal with the fact that these are all turning in place. This one's even worse than the one yesterday. Oh, excuse me. It's hard to believe because the one yesterday was a pain in the butt, but here we go. So I'm going to go right down the stud. And I've run into a problem that you run into when you do a bit of grinding, and that problem is I've run out of disc. I might be able to get this without having to go get a tool. Got lucky. I'll still save that disc because that disc will be coming handy somewhere along the line. And you want to make sure you got metal discs for this job. Canadian Tire, crappy tires, some of us call it. They have good tires. They used to have a lot worse tires, so we used to call them crappy tire, but Canadian Tire does have a lot of stuff, but you have to be careful when you buy these packages because some of them are a mixture of metal and masonry. And masonry is not the right disc for metal. It's the right disc for cutting bricks and things like that. So let's see if I gain enough. I mean, I didn't gain a lot, but it might be all I needed. Now I need a battery. One of those days where it just wants to fight ya. One of them days. I don't know if that gained me anything or not. Let's see. Well, it appears that I'm through it. And that's how you deal with one of those. That's how I'm going to deal with all 5 of them, if I'm being honest. Because this is stupid. Those should just come out. I don't know if that felt. No, it can't. So I'll show you on one that I can see. Here's them all the way through. Good times roll. This is gonna be hot. This is what I'm on about. So it's one of these styles. Oh look, and that one. There you go, calling me a liar now. The ones yesterday weren't like this. I see one on the ground. The ones yesterday were this style, so you can see the top is rounded. There isn't really any way to get onto that. It was what's called basically a stud bolt, and that's supposed to kind of sit into the hole, but the holes are too big. So 2 down, 3 to go. That's really dangerous. When that happens, like look at the fray on that wheel. Thankfully that went in a way that I'm turning this disc in a way that isn't going to explode towards me. If it explodes, it's going to explode away from you. So it's really important that you're careful when you're using these discs. These are very dangerous. I'm putting my trailer through more abuse than most of those campers will ever see. Granted, the campers are interesting because they have kind of like the weight of the trailer, and then people put a lot of their gear inside when they're traveling. I am putting this trailer with like 10,000 pounds of skid steer on top of the trailer. Probably weighs about 2,500 pounds. So now to go find the hardware, because that is the one thing I forgot to do. And I'm hoping that I didn't put that hardware with that safety mask that I seem to have misplaced, because that would be something I might do. Oh, there they are. If you're gonna go get brake parts, there's two ways you can do it. You can order it online. I am somewhat into the trucking arena. I've got a couple of 10-wheelers there. We call them tandems where I live. Called them tandem axle dump trucks. But I know some places in the States call them 10-wheelers. I find that the best place to buy parts is often from a truck wholesale supplier. And in my neck of the woods, that place is called Fleet Brake. So if you're local and you're watching this, I'm out of Sherwood Park, Alberta. That's where I like to go. Although after the fact, I was a bit surprised, because Fleet Brake was even a significantly better deal than Princess Auto, which would be somewhat shocking for a lot of the older gentlemen that might watch this video. And it's open concept, so same kind of idea as Princess Auto. It's not quite as commercial retail, it's more of like commercial wholesale. But they do a pretty good job. So actually I'm going to pull this cover plate back off. I'm going to show you guys something else that you might run into. I know I ran into it when I did it yesterday. Is these screws get stuck on that back spring mount. And because they're fine thread, I also discovered that I can get away with carefully, oh, of course it's just going to fall in there. That didn't happen yesterday. So anyways, you can call me a liar if you want to. So let's see if the rest of them go in, because I think that was the one that gave me the most trouble yesterday. It might have just been the way that that spring was mounted. Go figure. Here we go. Well, lucky day. I had to tap the other ones in with a hammer just because of where those U-bolts were on the drive axle and the other one. So even though this one was more of a pain in the butt, I was able to take 2 of the 5 nuts off the bolts without having to grind them off. It would appear that the placement of the U-bolt on this axle makes this one a little bit nicer. So it's nice when it works out like that. You might fight one axle a little more than another. So I like to have those in place first. I might get unlucky and when I push this on, bump a couple back, but or literally push all of them back, because they don't really sit securely in the hole. So I'm just going to try to hold that in place as best as I can with my knee. Try to wiggle this guy back in, even though it really wants to wiggle out. You probably can't see me fighting with that because my knee's probably in the way. Come on. Well, I guess we'll get the one we can get. We'll go from there. I'm being so careful when I turn that on because there's very little friction there holding that in place. Okay, well, there's 1 out of 3. And I am not left-handed, in case you're watching and wondering why I'm struggling like this. That's my excuse anyways. That's the excuse I'm going to come up with. It's that guy. Ooh. The previous style, I don't know if you could really see it, maybe you can, maybe you can, was totally manual. These ones are supposedly self-adjusting. I'm going to see if they're any good. They weren't really on the scene, I don't think, of consequence when I bought the trailer in 2011. They might have been. but they've got pretty popular. And when I looked at them, the price difference was about 20 bucks. And in my area, as you can see, all of the salt damage that has accumulated, if I don't have to manually adjust these things, that saves me a huge amount of work and headache and stress. Granted, it could go the other way. It could turn into a huge amount of stress and work to keep up with them. So I'm gonna find out. And if I junk or they don't work well for my area, I'll let you know. Because I don't have the hand spacing anymore. That's really awkward to get in there. So I got my trusty Rough Rider. They call these things dog bone creepers. None of these guys sponsor me. None of these tools. It's just a guy who needs tools, right? That'd be pretty sweet if I was sponsored. I have to say, I do like this creeper. I've had a few. This one's amazing. Okay. Of course, I can't see it, and you guys get a nice view looking up my nose, so you're welcome. Sort of. All right. I can't see what I'm doing, so this is just by feel. Did I Captain Cross thread that? I didn't, but I already got some like crap in there I can feel. So now I need to grab a wrench to hold the backing bolt in place, and I forgot to do that when I started, so let's go for a walk. I built this tool wall for my C-CAN a few years ago, and then over time I've just accumulated so much stuff I almost need another one so it's not such a mess. I'm gonna slip on that ice a few more times, I think, before this day is done. Thankfully, I haven't eaten anything yet. Okay. So, out with the old, in with the new. Check the wires in the back. That could have been really bad. So those would have got really badly pinched had I not looked at those. So make sure you look at those before you tighten your stuff down. Got it. And I'm going to tighten this like you tighten a car wheel. So from there over to here. I'm going to struggle a little bit to try to get the screw back on the back. Or try to get combination wrench on the back. Just because you can't see it, it's really awkward. I'm sure there's some guys that have a better solution than what I'm doing, but maybe I'll move the camera so you're not staring at my back. Oh, bonk. See, there we are. Fall over? Nope. Shooting this with a DJI Action 3. I swear I gotta get better at my communication a little bit. I'm in a video and repair at the same time. There we go. And next, I'm gonna go to this guy. Don't like that. Do not like that at all. I'll go over here. This guy. I did something unfortunate with this one. It dropped on the ground, and because it dropped on the ground, it got some crap in the threads. Not ideal, not the end of the world. Just means it's going to be a fight, more likely on removal. But as you could see from the start of the video, that's not something I'm surprised by or really that affected by. I've learned by now that Murphy's Law, generally speaking, is often true. You can to try to eliminate or control the things you can control, obviously, within reason. Get on there. Problem with this is you're totally blind, and in my case I'm now fighting the wires. I might have to actually take a minute. Cannot see a thing. It's all but feel. And the wires where they come out is right where I need this to go. Ha ha ha, got you now. Had you and lost you. Beautiful. So that's now on, and the most painful part of this whole job, aside from if you're going to pack the bearings, which there's videos on, and there's all kinds of great, stuff about directionality of the trailer. These are directional, so you'll notice that's the front of my trailer. These swing arms should be facing towards the front. So these are, well, they say right hand side, but they also say made in China. So I would just focus on making sure that these little elbows or arms or whatever you want to call them are facing towards the forward direction of your trailer, camper, whatever you have. And then again, there's two different styles on the back of these. Well, here's an example of the old one. The old school style will have one of these little grooves where you know that it's fully manual adjust. The new style, or the style that I've gone to, will have two grooves. And I don't know if one's just a visual port. I'm sure there's a reason for it, and somebody could probably comment about that. But in my case, what I'm going to do is, after I get the drums remounted, the bearings repacked, and these back on the trailer, I'm going to go in with a screwdriver and just make sure that they are tightened up across all four. So I'm happy with it. Again, there's great content online and on YouTube for that, but I thought I would walk you guys through a scenario where it could be a full, really painful process of trying to get those off. I mean, guys probably go as far as torching them out, and you could do that if you have acetylene too, I suppose. Just melt them off. But if you don't, I have acetylene. I still think that this is faster and nicer. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, and until next time, stay awesome.